Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
You know what? I'm calling it right now. The Pirates aren't getting Framber Valdez. Ken Rosenthal drops this bomb that Pittsburgh's in on Valdez, and everybody loses their minds. But let's be real here. This is the same song and dance we've seen all offseason from the Buccos. They wanted Kyle Schwarber. Didn't happen. They were supposedly all in on Schwarber and Candelario. Strike two. Now suddenly they're serious about landing a top-tier starting pitcher. I'll believe it when I see the press conference. This feels like the Pirates creating noise to keep their fan base from rioting, and I'm not buying it for a second. Here's the thing, though. If they actually pull this off, if they somehow convince Valdez to sign on the dotted line, we need to completely reassess what Pittsburgh's doing. Because pairing him with Paul Skenes changes everything. You'd be looking at a rotation with Skenes, Mitch Keller, Valdez, Jared Jones, and Bubba Chandler. That's legitimately scary. That's a playoff rotation. That's the kind of pitching staff that makes you believe the Pirates could actually compete in the NL Central. But that's a massive if. The reality is Valdez is going to command serious money. We're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 years, $150 million, maybe more. Does anyone actually think Pittsburgh's ownership is ready to write that check? Their entire organizational philosophy for the last decade has been develop, don't spend. One decent contract for Ryan O'Hearn doesn't suddenly make them the Dodgers. What's really interesting here is the connection between Valdez and the Pirates' new pitching coach. Bill Murphy worked with Framber throughout his entire career in Houston, both in the minors and the majors. That relationship matters. When you're choosing where to spend the next 5 years of your career, having a coach who knows your mechanics, understands how you work, and has helped you succeed at the highest level, that's valuable. It's not everything, but it's not nothing either. Still, familiarity only gets you so far when other teams are willing to pay more. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. Valdez has been sitting on the market way longer than anyone expected. We're in February. Spring training starts next week for some teams. This is a guy who's finished in the top 10 of Cy Young voting 3 out of the last 4 years, hasn't missed a start since 2022, and he's still unsigned. What's the holdup? Part of it is definitely the qualifying offer. Teams don't want to give up draft picks. But there's also been this narrative floating around about his temperament, about that incident where he threw equipment at his catcher. His agency literally had to put together a highlight reel showing what a great teammate he is. That tells you everything you need to know about the concerns some front offices have. Here's my take on that whole situation. Unless you've been in that clubhouse, unless you've sat on those flights and been in that dugout for a full season, you don't really know what kind of teammate someone is. The media can spin anything however they want. One bad moment gets caught on camera and suddenly you're labeled as difficult. Meanwhile, some guys get reputations as great teammates when half the roster can't stand them. It's all perception. What matters is whether the team signing him believes he'll fit their culture. And if Bill Murphy is vouching for him in Pittsburgh, maybe the Pirates feel confident he won't be a problem. Or maybe this is all leverage. Maybe Valdez's agent is using Pittsburgh's interest to drive up offers from Baltimore or Toronto. Because let's be honest, the Orioles make way more sense. Their rotation needs an ace. They've got the money. They were aggressive on Ranger Suarez before Boston swooped in. Valdez to Baltimore feels like the obvious landing spot. Toronto's another possibility, but their rotation is already loaded with Jose Barrios and Kevin Gausman. They don't need Valdez the way Baltimore does. Unless they're planning to trade someone or hedge against injuries, I don't see the fit. But back to Pittsburgh. If this happens, if they actually sign Framber Valdez, I'll admit I was wrong. I'll give them credit for finally stepping up. Because right now, their offense is still a question mark. They didn't land the big bat they needed. Their best move might be stacking elite pitching and hoping it's enough to squeeze into a wild card spot. The problem is, I don't think they're going to do it. I think this is the Pirates being the Pirates, generating headlines without following through. Prove me wrong, Pittsburgh. Go sign him. Make the move. Show your fans you're actually serious about winning. Until then, I'm treating this like every other Pirates rumor this winter. Interesting, but ultimately meaningless. Valdez ends up in Baltimore or maybe even back in Houston on a short-term deal. The calendar's working against him, teams know it, and somebody's going to get a steal. But it won't be the Pirates. It never is.